Welcome to the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting.
That was really fun.
Vicki, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Porter,
Here?
Commissioner Casals,
Here.
Commissioner Paula,
Here.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Sabre Smith,
Here.
Thomas Martin,
Here.
Jamal Williams, Clyde Davis,
Here.
Philip Frazee,
Here.
and Gilbert Salguero.
Here.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes from August the 3rd. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, there's a first and a second, so we will approve the minutes to the meeting. We'll move on to, we're going to move things around just a little bit, if that's okay with everybody. I'm going to move Mr. Russell Hooper up next, and we're going to have a parks update, and he's also going to introduce our new aquatics manager and the director of our shooting range. Mr. Hooper.
And I'll get up and stand, that way I won't have them come up and stand necessarily in the middle. So I did want to introduce, we've got Sandy here that just started today is our aquatics administrator. Actually, if you transferred over, you're going to have to come up and at least stand, yeah. There's cameras, you're on Facebook, there's all sorts of good things. No, and she's also got a presentation. The first day. They did that to me, actually, so yeah, I'm just trying to get back. No, but I just want to let y'all know, it's like we've been hunting down and, hunting for one of these for, I guess, 3 months now, 4 months, whatever that case might be. And so we've gotten her in this position. She came over from senior services. She's been working there for 5 years. Got a lot of programs going, so we're going to see what all we can get going in aquatics.
Good. Welcome.
Wonderful. Welcome, Sandy.
I didn't know you might want to say something, so I didn't know.
No, I was just going to say it's exciting for our Parks Department to have Sandy obviously coming over there. I know that Barbara Riggins, our Senior Services Director, is kicking and screaming, but her loss is Russell's gain. And so no, we're super excited to have Sandy over in our aquatics facility now, and I know that with all the programs that she developed for our Senior Services group, and that she'll do wonderful things for our aquatic center and expand upon that. So I'm looking forward to having her in that position.
And I know you had an illness at the house, so if you need to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Next person I'd like to introduce is April Holmes. She is the new range superintendent. Let me make sure, because I don't want her mad at me either. Range superintendent, she's been with us now, I guess, 3 weeks.
Yes.
Combat arms instructor, Air Force. So again, I got to be nice to her. It's just one of those things. But no, she's come on about 3 weeks ago. We sat down and I gave her a blank SOP for the form, and she's like, "Oh, this is easy," and just filled it out and handed it back to me. So now we know what to do with the place, to open it and close it, and run the machines. We've been dealing with the manufacturers, the installers, some of the former group that was going to be running it, to make sure we get advice, get ideas. I'll be coming at y'all here in a little bit with some options on some numbers for pricing. But no, we had it open. We had the soft opening. We're still working out bugs and kinks, and I just want to introduce y'all because y'all need to all come out and say hi and see her and do something.
Well, welcome, April. It sounds like we're very lucky to have you.
Oh, I'm excited to be here, and the project is just great. The facility is great, and I'm just looking forward to get it up and running and moving.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Well, welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Wait, Russell, don't go anywhere, because we did have up next, Mr. Mondragon was going to have a discussion regarding the Umpire Association, but it doesn't look like he's here tonight.
Yeah, and Madam Chair and members of the board, he requested to be placed on the agenda, and so we placed that on the agenda. He is aware of when the Parks and Rec Committee meets, and so, but in preparation for this conversation, Russell and I actually did have the opportunity to meet with Robert Tyler and Kathy Cox and discuss just overall the situation and kind of what happened. And obviously Mr. Mondragon had requested some dates for some softball tournaments that ended up conflicting with the schedule that was provided to us. And so the tournament didn't happen. And then the tournaments that were proposed to be at Bob Spencer Field, unfortunately, also did not make. And so I'm guessing that Mr. Mondragon maybe wanted to bring this to your attention, what may have happened. I know that he has discussed it with several of you individually, but wanted to bring it to the full committee. And as Russell and I continue to work on the user agreements, trying to put them in place to where we have the best coverage for all of our facilities, to where that they're being utilized fully. And so if there is down times in which one group isn't using the facility, you know, we do want it to be used. And so if there's other groups that are coming forward that can use them in the off seasons, or like I said, in those unscheduled times, we're trying to find ways to make accommodations to make that happen. And so we're not settled on how that fully could potentially look in the user agreements yet, but it is something that is on our radar to try and get and put in place for the future.
Madam Chair? I know that Mr. Mondragon did want to visit, but he is at a NATO conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm sure when he comes back, he'll probably want to put it back in the agenda.
Okay. We can do that. Let's move down to number 5 and discuss the shooting range pricing that Mr. Hooper is going to propose to us.
Yes, I gave y'all my printout. I think I was one short, so I hate to have someone to share, just have copy. Basically what I've got at the beginning is in black. So what we have currently in place, and this was helped set for us by the New Mexico Game and Fish. What they told us to do is they said, your round of trap and skeet cannot exceed $8. So we set our price at that $8 range. What I'm trying to propose is what's in red. So I'd like to propose a $6 trap or skeet round for youth. Basically, and the easiest way for me to explain that is if you bring one of your kids out, am I working?
You're not on.
Now I'll probably be yelling. So if you bring one of your kids out, grandkids out, things on those would be $6 for them and $8 for the adult. You have to have an adult there if a child is shooting. What else I'd like to propose onto that is to make some youth user agreements with some youth organizations. Logan High School has said something. I believe there's some gentlemen in town that are doing ATA youth. So that would be a recognized organization that we could then do a scheduled event with. I'd like to propose $5 a round for them. So it's just a little bit of a price break. Part of that is on those youth organizations. They're coming in larger numbers normally. The last numbers we got were there were 50 kids on a shooting 550 rounds each, which is 25,000 rounds. So it's a large event. It's also a 3-day event, so people are going to be coming to town and doing it. By setting up a user agreement with these groups, we can also say, okay, after you're done shooting 25,000 rounds, we don't want April to put that many clays back in the thing. So hey, guess what, kids? Let's line up and run some boxes up the stairs and help resupply, range cleanup. That's gonna be a lot of shells on the ground. So okay, after y'all are done shooting, we're gonna clear the line. Y'all go pick up those 400 shotgun empty shells. So things like that we can do some agreements with them. And again, it kind of compensates for the discounted cost. And that was kind of the part there. Currently, we're charging 50 cents for sporting clays. Groups of 50, so it's 25 for 50, 50 for 100, and on up. I'd like to do kind of the same thing, 40 cents for sporting clays for the youth. Again, if you come out on the weekends and you're wanting to shoot with your kids, grandkids, it'd be the youth rate for them, the adult rate for you. If they're part of the youth organization with a scheduled event, I'd like to drop that down to 30. Kind of with the same thought in mind. Let them clean up after themselves, let them help if we need some things. And then, of course, the volume. It makes a difference. If it's someone that's part of that organization but is not on a scheduled event, they would still pay the youth cost. So if you want to come out practice extra with your kids, boom, you do that. Then they come for a scheduled event, it'd be the lower rate for that one. On the archery, right now they set us at $15 a day for archery and air rifle. I'd like to break that down into sections to where if someone comes out for an hour, it's $5. If they come out for 10 hours, or 3 hours, it'd be $10. $3.33 a piece. And then if they come out for the whole day, then it'd be $15. And the whole day is 6 hours for us. So most people aren't going to come out and shoot all day long, archery or air rifle. especially archery, because that gets real tiring. But on the other hand, so you hate to make, for someone coming out 30 minutes or an hour and wanting to shoot, to pay the full day price. It's kind of just doing something like that. On these scheduled sanction events, and the one that comes to mind, first of all, is the Senior Olympics, come out and do air rifle. So if they have a group that has a scheduled sanctioned events, and I'm sure there's going to be some for archery also, then we can drop that down. Instead of it being $15 a day, it'd be $5 a day per person, per day per person. And again, like I say, I know there's some groups that do archery and do some stuff, and so it seems like for a group to pay a full $15 they're just not going to do it. And so we're trying to break some of those things down. The indoor range, outdoor range, and stuff like that is really, I hate to say it's not a cost to us, because obviously there's a cost to the building, cost to air conditioning, cost of operating. April's got to be there. On the other hand, if I've got a group coming in and doing air rifles and they're setting up their own targets and they're setting their benches and they're keeping score, it's not an additional added expense to stuff that's already going on. So it kind of made sense to me to reduce some of the rates. Further down the sheet, I've got kind of some of the other rates. Amarillo Gun Club, which actually is higher than us on the rounds. You can be a member and get a lower price. You can be a non-member and get the higher price. We can't do memberships at ours. So there was a clause in the agreement that said basically anybody can come up. There's also a clause in the agreements, even on these youth events that are large or any event that's large, we have to keep at least some of it open to the public. So I can't do all 4 bays and just lock them up for an event during normal hours. We have talked about possibly if someone wanted to use the range and do all that, we'd have to do it on other hours, and we have no idea of a rate yet, so that's something else. But Whittington, which is the big one up north, they don't do a youth specific, but they might do $5 or $6 for Boy Scouts or 4-H, different clubs like that, which is kind of the same type of thing we're talking on the user agreements. Hobbs. Another thing to note, some of these are lower than us. On the second page, you'll see some of them at $4.50, $6, $5, and these are for adults. Our target prices have changed. We just got a thing in from White Flyer, and basically all the targets went up 40%. The first cases that we have there, we're paying 8 cents a target. The next ones we're going to buy are going to be at least 11, plus freight, plus shipping. So some of these places that have lower prices will be going up as soon as they buy more traps. It's just a matter of, supply and demand and doing what they're doing. So.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The Clovis Christian School has an archery class. Do they have their own feel, or are they going to be using ours? And what are the prices going to be if they do decide to use ours? Does anybody know?
Clyde, you run that program, don't you? Or you've run that program in the past?
I've run that program. Right now I'm running the homeschoolers program, and I'm the guy that called you last week, but we'll talk after. Clovis Christian is only shut down now because they're renovating their gym. My friend Bruce Vincent is still running that program, and he's the one who told me they're shut down right now because they're renovating their gym. Who knows what it means, renovating your gym? It could be a month project, or it could stretch out all year. So, yeah, they have a place to shoot, but right now they don't have a place to shoot.
But our facility could certainly, and that's where we start getting into like these individual user agreements
Right.
for the youth.
Okay.
I know Bruce is still coaching, and I know he's sitting around going like this while they figure out what they're doing.
Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Hooper?
Yes, I do. Mr. Hooper, you said the state set the prices at in black, $8 trap or skeet per round. Is that a max, or is there just, they're saying do not exceed this amount?
Right, which is a max, yeah, do not exceed.
And those were the rates that were previously presented to this committee as well as the city commission and approved. And so when we started to actually get open and started having some additional conversations, especially when it came to the youth function of it, it's just something that we didn't think about at the time, and conversations that we've had, for example, with Joe Whitehurst. He's just like, well, you're not going to get the kids in for that price. You just simply can't. And so that's where we thought, you know what, that's a good point from a junior standpoint, from a youth standpoint. Let's look at that structure and create a youth price. And so that's what we did.
What is the age of
Yeah,
youth?
what is the definition of youth?
Yeah.
Define youth.
I would go up to 18.
And I think,
Basically, you're in school.
yeah, and I think that's what we're looking at, because 18 obviously it would be an adult and they can come shoot on their own. But if they're part of the school or in a school sanctioned event, then they would fall under that category. And then once they've come in and signed as part of the school event, then if they come back even by themselves to shoot and they're age 18, we'd still give them the youth price based on that. As opposed to someone that may have graduated earlier, graduated and they're now 18, they're adult.
Is there a minimum age, like that's set by the state or anything for something like this?
No, there's not. Actually, we did research that, and we couldn't find any guidance when it comes to, because ultimately, I mean, if a child is out there with his parent and learning gun safety, I mean, there's hunter education classes. I mean, people start using shotguns at young ages. And that's, I mean, we have liability forms that everybody has to sign off on. If it is somebody that's under 18, the parent obviously has to sign the liability form for them and is responsible for them.
And then there's different levels of, correct me if I'm wrong, but at 18 and below, the parent has to sign off on the liability and has to be there. At 14 and below, the parent, whoever's watching them, is not allowed to shoot. So that would be, you'd either have to have two adults, if one adult is shooting, the kid is shooting, because one of them has to be constantly, you can't watch your kid while you're shooting, and we don't want him running up and down the playing. So there is that also in place, just two different levels.
Okay, anyone else? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign? Okay, very good. Next up is a report regarding Trek for Trash. Miss Vicky, I don't have any numbers, so you're gonna have to help me out.
So we had Trek for Trash on Saturday, and we had 150 volunteers, including staff. We had teams from Teen Court, Yucca Middle School, Cannon Federal, Junior ROTC, FCCLA, Silverback Jiu-Jitsu, and 16th AMU from the base. From Friday at noon until Monday at noon, we had 76 tires collected and 105.24 tons at the landfill. Our third place team that had 53 bags was the 16th AMU. Second place with 65 bags was Cannon Federal. And first place was Yucca Middle School with 82 bags.
Wow, that's awesome. And they'll be recognized at one of the upcoming city commission meetings?
Megan was working on a PowerPoint with some pictures and some more numbers that will be shown on Thursday.
Wonderful, thank you. And again, we'd like to thank New Mexico Clean and Beautiful for always sponsoring this event. Mr. Hooper, do you have any more to update us on regarding the parks?
Yes. Actually, going back to some of our discussions earlier on capital improvements, we had the, my mind's blanking, 300 grant that we got coming in from the state. The way I took the directive from y'all was the priority was Green Acres Playground, little one, and then the Ryerson full playground, and then following that up with other improvements. I've gotten different playground pricings from different companies. Game Time right now has a grant that's going on to where it's a partial deduction off your equipment. And their design came in at $181,000, and this is to do both parks. Ryerson, like I say, Ryerson a full replacement, and then Green Acres just on the smaller ones and smaller one in the back, the 2 to 5 year old. The one from Creative Designs came in at $235,000. The one from AK Sales, which was Burke, came in at $248,000. Like I say, that grant that the Game Time is now running took $60,000 off of it, is what they're covering. And I need to confirm that by the end of the month, before the grant runs, before that opportunity runs out. So just, yeah, I've got till next Friday, I believe. No, but I just want to let y'all know, and then just want to make sure that we did want to pursue that option. You know, we'll still do the color samplings and different things like that, that'll come in as the final when we take a vote and get a couple of color samples. and
Yeah,
do some
no, I
things.
think that's what we discussed, and so we're gonna get that ordered prior to the end of the month?
Yes, I can
Okay.
confirm the order prior to the end of the month if that's okay with the group.
Yes. That's
Okay?
fine with me, if anybody has any objections.
Yeah.
Okay,
And following that, that gives us a little over 100 to play with,
Okay.
honestly, for some other things. Now, we have done some, so it's at Ryerson, or at Sunset, Pat Sandoval, Ryerson, we have painted and rebuilt a lot of the pavilions that are already out there. So some of the work that just fell back under maintenance, we went ahead and took that on and painted. When I say the pavilion's rebuilt, there's some rusted edges and some different things, roof panels that need to be put on. So we got those. At Bob Spencer, we painted pavilions and did the bathroom. Still need to do some work at Potter and Green Acres. I believe they've started on some, but I just don't think they've finished some of the pavilions and things at Potter. So, and I guess my thinking on some of this for the capital improvement is, I know we talked about trees, doing some work there at Green Acres that needed to be some work done on. And then we talked about the skate park. And I kind of, if we're good with the 180, then I kind of need to know what direction y'all want me to work on the last 100. Does that,
it does. I know we had discussed, maybe, I don't think the skate park needs a full renovation, but just maybe freshing, I can't say the word.
yes.
Putting some new,
Doing some
new
improvements.
improvements there.
Yes.
And I know that, I also thought that the basketball goal area at Potter was really in need of some help.
We talked about lights out there. Now the thinking along the same lines. So at Green Acres, the pickleball court, I believe, is scheduled by the end of the month.
Okay,
So just to let you know, we pulled the double basketball hoops and some other stuff. We're gonna pull the fences on the end, and they should be redoing that pickleball court, or the current tennis court, and turn it into pickleballs.
okay. And are there some pickleball players that are gonna maybe
We hope so.
people that are interested, that know pickleball really well, that will be there to help, I guess, or see the design, or I guess,
Well, the layout of the courts is pretty standard.
Yes.
And so they'll get the maximum number of courts within
Okay.
the area that they can get. But the dimensions of
right,
themselves is
that's pretty standard, yeah.
And,
Okay.
and they know they're going north-south, so, just like say, the basics that are stuff, so.
And then I know we talked about taking down the fence at Ryerson and putting rocks in. Is that still on
It's
a
still
schedule?
on, and that's, and like I say, that's where I'm wanting to make sure, because I haven't gotten prices on stone yet, to be honest,
Okay.
and big chunks of rocks and doing that. A lot of the pulling of the fence and pulling the pipe rails we can do as our schedule permits, so it's just finding out pricing to get some stuff.
Okay,
And that's where, like I said, I wanted to make sure before I committed to a direction is, how do y'all want the direction to go?
And what we can do is, if y'all are good, obviously it sounds like you're good with the playground equipment, proceeding toward in that direction. We'll go out and start getting prices on all of that stuff to where we can create that list again to bring it back to you for consideration.
okay.
I have a question regarding Potter's Park. Did we ever get the problems situated out there? The bleachers, the
No,
toilets, the plumbing?
That's why I was gonna wait till my turn, but I was gonna ask, what is the priority, or is Potter Park still on the list? The capital outlay, it specifically said Potter Park, and it seems like we're taking Potter Park off, but there's shade structures, the bleachers are not, it needs new bleachers, the bathrooms have not been addressed. I'd just like to know what's the priority for Potter's Park.
Yeah, and we have, and one of the other updates is we're trying to meet with the contractor still to get into that bottom, the concessionary bathroom, and I don't know if we ever hooked up on, got a key. I know there was some confusion, because you said.
We've left it unlocked. Anybody can walk in there, and
Please
if
don't
we
do
get well, it's locked, but if we get 2 more city locks, you guys can go in and out of there at any time.
Okay, so I'll make sure I get with John, because, yeah, that was the other thing, and I know they've been going and locking some of the other restrooms and the middle ones and doing that, so we need to that's a side note. But yeah, no, it's just a matter of getting the contractor over there to get a bid, and in these days,
I know we can't completely remodel that park, but at least make it safe for the children.
yes.
Yeah,
And-
and
and
at least
there's-
have running water in the bathrooms.
Oh, I believe that has been done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we've done the initial, but like I say, to start doing some upgrades and stuff like that, we're just trying to get some different prices, so we'll know which way to go. Kind of the same thing, once I know that, all right, of my 300, 180's off the table now, well, that gives us the 120 to play with. So, bleachers are running $5,000 a set. So it starts to be a matter of, all right, there's two of them, there went 10 off my ledger sheet. The stones are gonna cost me 30, and so now that we can start finding things.
I think the bleachers just need to be repaired, don't they?
Well, there's a couple that are, I know there's one by the minor field, it has missing sections. Some of the other ones, the standard is they're supposed to have, side rails. If you look at, if you go to Hillcrest Park and the very first, bleacher you see, that's the basic safe standard where it has the side fence so people don't fall off. None of the bleachers are fine, they're usable, that we have now, but if we are going to get, up to standard, I think the $5,000 set with the fence surrounding is the
And
standard.
They changed the rules several years ago, and I don't know if it was 10 or so these were bought before then.
Right.
Obviously. And we're trying to get away from a lot of the bleachers that we have to repair all the time or have broken boards and do stuff like that and upgrade. So, I mean, this is kind of the standard we would go to. And now that we know, like I say, that's an easy.
Can we put the bleachers that need repaired on the maintenance list for this winter time when we have the time?
And I think part of the problem is if we start repairing and working on them, then we're supposed to bring them up to current codes, which would include the backing and the fencing and everything else, in which you can't just
You can't just put a
add
seat on?
Correct.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll get pricing on bleachers then as well. And just for clarification, the grant does list more than just Potter Park on there.
Okay,
It
I
does
was-
list
yeah, I wanted that
Ryerson, it does list Green Acres. It is,
Right.
it's not specific to Potter Park.
Okay. So it sounds like at the next meeting, we'll have the playground equipment will be ordered because we have a deadline for that. And then we're going to get some pricing on everything else we've kind of talked about tonight and then maybe prioritize that, correct? Okay, wonderful. Anybody else?
Mr. Hooper, over here, sir. Sir.
Yes, sir.
How about Guy Leader? Are we responsible for the equipment up there, the kiddie land right there? Is that part of the city's duty to fix some of that stuff out there for the playground area over there for them?
Good question.
Because there's a teeter-totter that's been out there. It's been broken since 3 months ago, and I've never known who's to fix it or what. I'm just asking a curiosity. So we could, some of that stuff out there has been there for years.
Right.
And the kids love it.
Yeah, and things that were put in like that, I honestly don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if we have anything that we could put aside to put over there to help
Right.
out.
And I'm not sure on that either and how to set it up because I don't know I know the city purchased it,
Yes.
but it's not, and while it's being used for the city, it's being only used during
Exactly.
Guy Leader events.
Exactly.
So it's not every day of the year, so I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if we start collecting user fees, we can do a lot of repairs out there.
Oh, yes.
But until we start collecting user fees, it's limited what we can do.
Yes. And that will be one of the other things that we come into with our next meeting is discussing some of those user fees as we rebuild our user agreements. We need to get some things in place so we'll know how to write them. After going through the revenue review, and I know some of y'all were on and some weren't, that wasn't a specific topic because we did want to bring it to the y'all's recreation board for approval, but that will be coming up in a future meeting.
Gilbert, just on that same note, is it broken and dangerous or?
They've got it wired down. They got safety nets over it that they can't get on it or anything. And the kids still get on it because they jump around on it and stuff. And the people work, and if they do put the I wanna say like not a net or anything, but they've got it fenced off. They try to fix it, they try to let the kids just keep on playing.
Can we look at that as a city and decide either take it down or fix it?
Yes, either or. Like I said, the kids love it. I'm not gonna lie to you about that, but it's just broken and there's some spots of it. And it's an old teeter-totter, basically, is what it is. I'm talking about, it's been there 15 years, probably, and just a lot of wear and tear on it, by all means, it is. And, there's just a slide, there's a teeter-totter, and just a sand trap is all there is for all the kids there. And I'm like you, though, because season's coming to the end of it, but it starts in February and ends here in November. That's 9 months of the year, and that thing's utilized Monday through Friday when it's time to play. And that place is packed. This weekend alone, there'll be up to 150 teams coming to play this weekend, and that place will be packed. And it's just a safety for us and for the people of Clovis and the people that come into our town. And I guess, like I said, it's been that way for a while, and I've never addressed it. I never thought about it at the time. And I just said, well, maybe it's our responsibility, like we said. We don't know that. I didn't know that. But it's just something, maybe if you got some extra, maybe you could throw something in there. I don't know. Like Ms. Casal says, we do need to find some way to bring some more revenue in, by all means. There needs to be. But we just, what has to be done, we can do. Like I say, just for the safety of the kids, in fact, this time. This is kids. And that's what our situation is all the time with Parks and Recs. We want to make sure the safety is made for the kids at all times.
Well, I think we're going to have the city look at it, and if we can fix it, we'll fix it.
Like, this is the last week of softball out there at Guy Leader, though. This actually is. It'll be finished until next year.
Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Curry, do you have a recreation update for us?
Yeah, so this past weekend was actually our first youth basketball game. I like the way, the direction that we're going. We're still looking into other activities and programs that we can bring to the city. I hired 2 new guys about 3 weeks ago, so they're fitting in pretty well. I'm still 1 down, but the goal right now is to continue on the momentum that we have with just providing programs and getting out to the youth. So just constantly talking to Russell, and we just having conversations of just what could be great here, and also how can we fill in the gaps with the programming that's already here with some of the youth sports. So far as right now, I like the direction that we're going, and we're going to continue to make great strides.
Wonderful. How many kids do you have playing in the basketball league?
170.
Great. That's awesome.
Numbers.
That is good.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all your effort.
Chairman,
Yes.
and one of the things Tari and I discussed today that I'd like to bring up is we're talking about a January, February. Are we still good on this? You know the direction I'm going for our next league.
Oh, yeah. So actually, in January, we are looking to start adult dodgeball. So if
It takes me back to junior high.
anyone who would like to sign up, I think that'd be great. So that'll be probably the next program that we're going to do.
I love it.
Yes, so I would like to propose, and we will be taking down names, obviously, of who will be participating in our adult.
Sabra.
So, Parks, we will be sporting our own team at that. And we would actually like the commission, possibly the mayor, to support it,
I like it.
we could get some full contact dodgeball out there. I'm just saying.
That may solve all of our problems.
Stress
Or
reliever.
create some more. Okay, very good.
Those little ones sting.
All right, Mr. Lechner, do you have an update for us on the zoo?
I do, and I have a PowerPoint. If you know me,
Great.
you know I love PowerPoints. But I will be talking about a couple animals, so it'll just be a little easier, so you can see the animals that I'm talking about. And so we got 2 southern tamanduas in. Should be right there. So we have a male and a female. Picked them up August 23rd. I guess that seems like it's been a long time, but I guess I haven't been here for a while. So it was down by Brownsville. I drove down and picked them up. Is what's so special about this species is there's only 35 males and 37 females in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So they're extremely important animals for conservation. So with that said, I was able to put them on the AZA Species Survival Plan, which puts us on a global platform. So if we get offspring from them, and then those offspring will probably move to AZA facilities. So it's really good for the Hillcrest Park Zoo. That'll get the name out pretty much all across the country. We had a naming contest to name them. We had 250 submissions, and ended up 650 votes for Edward and Morticia, so there's their names. So Edward and Tish is what the keepers call them. So you have to come out and see them at the zoo. We are working on actually using the female as a program animal as well, as we build our education program. The next animal that we got in was a sugar glider. This was a donation from a resident in Portales. She bought one as a pet, was having some issues with it, and after a lot of consideration, we decided that we can give this animal a home. So this will be part of the education program again as we start building that as well. Just a couple updates around the zoo. So we did paint the gift shop. That paint was donated by Sherman Williams. We also painted the front bathrooms just to kind of give it just kind of a cleaner look. We also painted our animal kitchen in the back, and we put a new floor, and new cabinets are going in hopefully next week as well. So just it was definitely showing some wear, and it could have been an issue for as we move towards accreditation. So it was just the right time to actually put that in. We're doing that in-house, so it didn't really cost us a whole lot of money to do the flooring. And our rattlesnakes, I drove them to Albuquerque. We just did not have the skill set at the zoo to be taking care of these two rattlesnakes. I feel it was a hazard towards the keepers, so in the best interest to keep everyone safe, I had contacted the International Rattlesnake Museum, and so one of those will go to El Paso, and then the other one, I believe that they're going to keep there at the museum. And then he's also going to come up and he's going to teach the zookeepers on safe snake handling, so it'll kind of help with our husbandry at the zoo as well.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the Reptile House did open on September 5th, so we did reopen that. It is a lot better. It smells a lot better. So we're just working on some new signage and things like that. Irrigation around the zoo, as we all know, it was very dry, very dirty. Just a lot of dirt, very little grass, and so the irrigation. I was working with Russell's crew to try to fix those. There was just too many leaks, too many breaks, so we had Hamilton come out. They were the ones that initially installed it about 15 years ago. The guy who's working on it now is the son of his father was the one who initially put it in, so he's very well aware of where everything is. So the zoo did look very green. Now that it's getting colder, things are starting to get a little bit brown. But we're excited for the spring where we can start planting some trees and some shrubs to beautify the zoo a little bit more. The sign on Norris is finally installed. I'm not sure if you all have seen it. It does look a lot better, and it does definitely let people know where the zoo is. So we're very happy that that's finally up. Tiger habitat expansion. So just on the very bottom, I do just want to address this, that we do meet the current space requirements for AZA by 800 square feet. However, we do have a space right next to it, which is what the old cougar habitat was. So it would be in our best interest to give Sooner a bigger home. So this is just something that we've just been talking about. We were reached out by one of the military wives at the base. She wants to do a fundraiser. That's going to be on December 10th, 11 a.m. at the zoo, and then 6 p.m. at the YRB. So as she gets more of that along in the approvals and things like that, I will bring it to the board again for approval for a lot of those things. She's just kind of starting out right now. Hopefully she'll get all of that done before the December 10th deadline there. And I did buy a tiger mascot costume, so we'll be bringing that out for Sooner Saturdays, Sooner Sundays, have lots of kid events in the gift shop. Anything that's tiger themed, there is a portion of like the donations that would go to a fund to actually expand his habitat. And we can't keep tiger things in the gift shop. They're just flying out. So we're very excited to see that the community is behind that.
Awesome.
Next thing, I'm almost done, I promise.
I'm just,
so,
I can't get past the tiger costume. Are you wearing the
Oh,
tiger costume?
yes. Well, I made the mistake of getting the costume to fit me perfectly, exactly. So now I'm the only one who can wear it. So when you see it out, yeah, it'll be me. But you know, education and fundraising, that's a big passion of mine too. Especially to if it's going to help sooner. So I don't mind getting into the costume at all. For the zoo membership changes, I will be putting this on the agenda for next meeting. I just wanted to kind of bring this up, just that our current membership, the way it is now, I don't want to change prices or anything like that, but we don't have anything set with how many adults and how many children it is. So I'm still trying to figure out what we kind of want to do, but some of the memberships have like 5 adults and 6 kids. And I just feel like we're really losing a lot of money that way. I did look at a lot of other zoos, and most of them are 2 adults, 2 children, and then you can add additional children for like $15 or $10 on there. So I will put that up for next meeting for a vote to see if we could do that. Is just going through the old memberships. I just feel having 5 adults and 4 kids. If you add it up, we're just not really making anything off of that. The Love the Zoo events. It went really, really well. We had 101 people came. Commissioner Paula, thank you for coming out as well. Swim team, Walmart, and the military were the 2 biggest groups that came out. We got quite a bit of work done. 1,294 feet of fence line painted, and a lot of the structures. We cut lots of browse for the animals. Duck Lake Bridge. Repurchased some of the habitats. That old aviary that was next to the owls, we got that torn down. It looks really, really nice. It lets in a lot of light over there, so we're thinking of putting some grass and benches and things like that in there. And then Sherman-Williams did donate all of that, all those items that are in that picture right there. So I just want to give a shout out to them and thank them. It was very generous of them to do that and help out the zoo. We started a Zookeeper Shadow program with Albuquerque Biopark. They're very, very excited to share their knowledge with our zookeepers here. So Olivia and Angel are actually leaving tomorrow, and they'll come back Wednesday evening. Olivia's going to learn more about primates. Angel's going to learn more about reptiles, and then they're both going to learn more about education animals, so we can build that program as well. So I really think that's really going to help the zoo out. That is some knowledge that they don't have, and it's, I do give them websites and books and things like that to read, but sometimes, you just learn so much more just by being there, just by learning from other keepers. So this is a program I hope that we can keep up and get all the keepers through to give the best care to the animals that call the Hillcrest Park Zoo home. And last thing is Booth the Zoo 6. That's going to be Sunday on October 30th from 1 to 4. We had over 5,000 people last year, so we kind of expect the same. The pre-sale tickets have been kind of slow right now, so just anybody watching on Facebook, it is best to get your tickets early so you can kind of beat the lines. If you have the tickets, that line's very short for you to get in. We do sell them at the time of the event too, but the lines, from what I've heard, do get pretty long. So again, you can come to the gift shop, you can come to the ticket window, you can get your tickets. They're $1 a person, regardless of age. And come out and get lots of candy. We'll have the gift shops open too, and it'll be a good time. And that's it.
Wonderful. I've got a couple things, Damien. When I was there with the Love the Zoo program, one of your keepers did a educational demonstration with the camel, and he did a wonderful job. The kids were transfixed by him for the longest time. I think he could have talked twice as long, and just did an outstanding job. So I really think that educational program that you're beginning is very important for the zoo, and wonderful for the kids in our community. So
Thank you
thank
for
you for
that.
doing that. And the other question I had was, I noticed when I was there that if you go down the main part of the zoo, which used to be the entrance, there was that kind of little river that would run through. And is that going to be fixed with the irrigation work that's being done?
No, so that's, I don't believe that's fixable. So we're gonna take that concrete out. And is what I would like to do is, actually to plant trees, in that little berm area. And then maybe have some of like the landscaping, like the lights that kind of shine up.
Okay.
And my thought is that old entrance, that's where the education building will be, if we can, get a grant for that. That's where people will come in for like the night fundraisers and things like that. So when they walk down, it will just be a more beautiful entrance to come in.
Okay.
But I mean, totally open for any ideas. It's just, that concrete's broken, the pump's broken, the big metal barrel at the end is completely rusted through. I just think it would cost too much to fix that.
Okay. No, I guess I don't particularly care what we decide to do with it, but I hate to just see it broken. You know me, I guess I just hate to see broken stuff. So, yes, no, I think the trees sound beautiful and the lighting. I like that idea as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have, sure. Do you have, I guess me and my kids, we go ride around and we saw it by the baseball field and the, in the football field, some little animals bounce around at nighttime. And we did a little investigation. We couldn't tell if they were foxes. I thought they were chupacabras.
It's foxes.
But they are foxes.
Yeah, there's quite a few foxes that call the zoo home. So they are wild foxes, but like they have the protection from other animals, and they just go right under the fence. They don't really bother anything there. Hopefully, it stays that way.
That way.
But
Yeah,
we
that's what I was
do
gonna
enjoy
say.
seeing them.
Okay. So no chupacabra.
No chupacabra. I hope not. Anyway.
Anyone else have a question? All right, wonderful. Mr. Lecter, we always look forward to your presentation, so thank you very much. All right, does anybody have anything for the good of the order?
I have a question about the walking trail. Someone asked me about it. I didn't read it in the paper. Was it the Great American? I don't know the exact title, but the walking trail that we had been talking about, going from 7th all the way around. I just wanted to know something about that. Someone asked me about it. I wasn't able to give any answers.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing you're referring to what we call the Leavelt Channel Trail.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's actually a project that we received state funding for through the Recreational Trails Program. However, it's for the design portion first, and so obviously we've got to get it all designed, and it's not actually scheduled until federal fiscal year 24, which for us to receive funding, which would be October of 23. So as soon as we get a grant agreement in the upcoming year, then we will obviously get started on that project. But that is something that we would plan to develop a trail system, trying to interconnect as many of our parks as we possibly can. And so it would start up at Bob Spencer Park, and then the channel, the drainage channel is called the Leavelt Channel. Develop the trail into that particular area, which would then take you from Bob Spencer Park down to Green Acres. Then we have the trail system that goes around Green Acres, and then we'd utilize wayfinding signage to bring individuals from Green Acres down to 7th Street along Main Street. And then once you get to 7th Street with our current road project, we're obviously designing that to be both pedestrian and bicycle friendly. And so we'd have the sidewalks and the bike lanes that are associated with that roadway project that then would take you from Main Street all the way down to Hillcrest Park to interconnect you with that park there. And then actually from Hillcrest to CCC's walking trail, I mean, it's accessible as well. There is some sidewalks in place. It's not fully developed yet, but just trying to make that connectivity between basically the northwest part of the community to the southeastern part of the community through a trail system.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, very good. Our next meeting will be Monday, November 21st at 5:30 here in the North Annex. And we also have a ribbon cutting for the new shooting complex, which will be Tuesday, October 25th at 11:30 a.m. We're adjourned.